I think I did a good job with what I have. See, that wasn't convincing.
What?
You did a good job.
Oh, I'm sorry. Saying yes wasn't enough for you?
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
So, in case anybody needs a reminder, just so you know, I feel like this needs to be covered one more time, just in case. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Still hasn't. Never did. He was strangled by somebody.
I think you're only allowed to say that for like 3 more days.
Really?
Yeah, because then this new inauguration.
Well, no, because I'm sure Biden went to the island too.
His friends are taking back over.
I don't know if you guys
Allegedly.
know this. Allegedly. Please don't kill me. But I heard that Biden, same as Michael Jackson, likes to look at never mind.
Oh, no.
Hey, whoa! That may not age. By the
I'm going to have to bleep all of those names
He
out.
falls asleep too much.
Hey, isn't he going to be inaugurated when this episode airs?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of
Hopefully everything's not
worried.
burned down.
Wait, is that a euphemism or is that a political thing?
I'm kind of concerned a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what. Speaking of that, I've prepared a little news segment. Can I
News flash.
It's time for the Beacon House News.
Spence, take it
News
away.
flash.
Take it away.
We're going to try this. If this sucks, we'll stop doing it. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fuck it. No, wait. Just you guys do it. Hang on.
Let's do it.
Let's start off.
Okay.
All right, everybody. It's time for the news. All right. So, in current news, the Biden inauguration nears, and the armed protests are feared to happen at all 50 state capitals.
Stop. Keep going.
I hate you.
Stop it, you bastard.
Parler sues Amazon for big bucks after being removed from their app store. National Football Championships, Bama dominated the shit out of Ohio State, 52-24.
Yeah, it was real fun to watch.
And but apparently Ohio was missing some players because of COVID. You think that would have mattered?
No.
Okay.
It's Bama.
And apparently the Bama now has one of the craziest legacies in college sports ever because of like all the winning. Like it's apparently one of the biggest dynasties. I don't know much about college football. Casey, what do you think?
I hate watching Alabama win all the time.
Wait, isn't
it's
there
so boring?
Oh, but isn't Jason Turner a Bama fan?
Oh, you're right. Jason Turner is a Bama
No one's
fan.
perfect. We still love you.
So is our friend John Ferguson.
Dude, Jason's going to hate you so much for that.
Wait, he's a Tennessee fan that lives in Bama. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Roll
Jason.
Tide, Jason. Roll Tide.
But for John Ferguson, roll Tide. Basketball superstar MVP James Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets this week, which is a big deal because now he's on the same team with Kevin Durant, and it's the first super team in the East in a very long time since LeBron's been in the East.
I don't know why when you said that Harden had been transferred to the Nets or traded to the Nets, my first reaction was, so they're not going to win still? Nothing's going to happen?
They look mean. Somebody carved Trump into a manatee in Florida, and rewards are going up everywhere for the hopefully for the apprehension of whoever
Did that?
carved up that manatee in Florida.
Did they carve it or just wrote on it?
No, it was carved into the manatee.
Why?
Trump was carved in the manatee.
Yes, not a picture of him, just at the word.
Cool. I think I've given up all faith in humanity on that one.
Yes. House Democrats move to impeach Donald Trump again for inciting the Capitol riots, even though he's only got a couple hours left in office. We'll see how that goes. Not a bad idea. He really did fuck things up really bad, but the question is it really worth another lengthy trial the taxpayers are paying for when he's about to be gone anyway?
Well, if it prevents him from getting in office, yeah.
That's a fact.
Re-upping.
Let's see here. Iran banned American and English versions of the COVID-19 vaccine. They're not allowed to use it. We don't know why. They don't want to have anything to do with our vaccines.
I heard it dies in the heat.
You're about to die in the heat.
I'm done. I already want to be gone.
Let's see here. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the episode, but apparently Wandavision is the highest rated thing ever put out by Marvel on Rotten Tomatoes, at least for now. Apple, tech giant Apple, has a car coming out in 5 to 7 years. They're supposed to partner with some kind of a manufacturer, and then they're going to make, I'm sure it's an electric car, but it's supposed to revolutionize the electric car industry like they did with the phones, but maybe not. Do you
Will-
guys think it's going to have an impact like the phone and the watch did?
No, because it'll be way overpriced and people won't pay for it.
Will
That's
it
what they
return-
said about the iPad.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I was like, who's going to buy that? It's like a gigantic phone that you can't make calls from. Like, duh. Now I use one at work. Not by choice. But anyway, and then in other news, Casey got engaged. What about that?
Wait, why'd you end it on that note?
That's just how I celebrate.
I'm still looking for this.
Suck it in.
I'm still looking for this spider ass
Spencer.
picture.
Like sometimes I'll say that to myself in the grocery store if I find something I'm
okay,
looking
sorry.
for and I go, damn right, I got this on sale. Suck it.
I got 2 kidney beans for the price of one. Suck
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Casey, congratulations.
Thank you.
And why don't you tell everybody it's probably not a big secret now, who our guest this week is?
It's my girl. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. Fiance.
Oh,
Slick.
Hey.
Welcome,
I've
girl.
only made that mistake
Fiance.
once. I've only made that mistake once of being like, girl. Oh, no, wait. Sorry, fiance.
In your defense, she is a girl.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. It's
Sorry
very-
if anybody's offended by gender specifics, but
I'm
I
sure
am a girl,
they will
though.
be
Never
fine.
mind. Never mind. Anyway, yes.
I mean, science is real. So
Sav, welcome on the podcast for the first time as the fiance.
Biden, please send me my 1400.
I am sure that I speak for all of our listeners when I say congratulations very much to you
Thank
two.
you.
Thank you.
Casey did drop a lot of hints about it, but it's still kind of a surprise. And you did surprise us by going a day early.
2 days early.
I thought it was going to be Saturday.
It was, and I did it Thursday night.
Dang. So
Dang.
It
you
was, yeah.
Listen, so I'm going to break it down for you. First of all, and I'm going to poke fun a little bit. So just,
That's fine. I'll poke fun back.
I know you will.
yes, you will.
So
That's why we're getting married.
Stay tuned for the Valentine's
Well-
Day episode, everybody.
and don't worry. I get really awkward in the Valentine's Day episode because I just need validation that people like me. So, anyways,
Especially a significant other.
yeah,
If you
especially
keep
somebody
saying
who's
things like
with-
that, it's not going to be as funny. Shut up.
So, first, I'm going to poke fun a little bit here. Also, at Fry, who's in the room with us, because it's your fault.
Yeah,
So-
that's our social media expert, Casey
not your
Frying
fault.
Pan, Frangipane, Frying Pan,
her name is Frying Pan.
Pan.
Frying pain in Spencer's ass.
She
So,
met,
anyways,
she met my parents. She met my parents last night, and both my parents were like, "You're a frying pan," and she was like, "Yeah,
Great.
my name's Casey."
You're like, your legacy goes on.
K-Pax?
so
He didn't run. He just stood
Let
there.
Casey talk, you little tick turd.
When it came up for the engagement, we were talking about. We even went ring shopping together because I was like, if I'm going to put money on this, I want you to find something that you will absolutely want to wear at all times.
And I'm not picky at all.
No, we only went to 5 different places on 7 different occasions. It's fine, but we found the one. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of the times we went and they were like, yeah, this is the ring and this is this. And a lot of most of them were like, it's going to be like $5,000. And I was like, for a
Yeah.
ring? And they're like,
And
yeah,
that
the
was-
diamond itself's $3,000. And
That was part of it. Why it took us so long is because we're both very like practical people, and some of it we were like, "That's stupid.
That's
That's
way
a
too
down
much.
payment for a house. We're
Yeah.
not going to do that."
So she knew I was going to do it from a mile away. And through the process, she was always just like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? And I was like, you really want to know? She's like, yeah, I want to, I don't like big surprises. Don't do it in front of people.
Tell me you made something up. Like, okay, there's going to be a gorilla.
Let him talk,
I
you
did
tick
the
turd.
I did the honorable thing and told her exactly my plans. Now,
And then I
and
changed
this
my
is where
mind.
frying pans.
Well, and then I changed my mind.
Yeah, this is where
I
frying
was
pan
like,
comes
now
in.
I know, and I don't want to know.
So I told her everything, and we knew when the ring was coming. So she knew, she knew everything because that's what she asked for. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Yes, dear. Here's everything. And then we go to New Year's Eve party, and Frying Pan's like, no, you got to have surprises. And I was like, but she said she doesn't like surprises. And Savannah looked at me after I said that and went, well, I wouldn't mind 1 or 2. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? I was like, we're 2 weeks out. You can't just put this on me.
Amazing.
And she was just like, yeah, I just wanted to say, 1 or 2
Welcome to
would
Alive
be
with
great.
me.
So I had to think on the fly. I got to do something now
So
to
just to clear, just
shock the world.
So you went into it thinking that no surprises were necessary, and then at like the 11th hour, it turns out, well, maybe I need a surprise.
Yeah.
You had to manufacture that.
I
Now-
think for me, and I think I did a poor job of clarifying.
I think I did a good job with
You did a good
what I
job.
have. See, that wasn't convincing.
What?
you did a good job.
Oh, I'm sorry. Saying yes wasn't enough for you.
Ow. Ouch. I'm done.
Did
I'm out.
she get the?
Hey, Frying
she
Pan,
got
you
the
can have my
blurs.
seat.
Tell me she got the
I am
blurs.
so putting a sound effect in there for that one. Anyway,
Oing, 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 oing. So, anyways, it comes down like the next week, like literally, I want to say it's like the 7th or 8th of January. I get a text from the jeweler. And they go, hey, just so you know, with the shipping and things like that, your ring's not going to be here until February 23rd. And I said, I can't, like, you told me the 13th. I can't do that. Like, I've already have plans. And they're like, oh, when do you plan on doing it? I was like, the 16th. And they're like, oh, we'll see what we can do. We'll try to expedite it, but no promises. And at that time, I was like, well, I already have these plans. Like, people are
And we
coming
were
into
together
town.
at that. Like, we were sitting together when he got the text, and he tried to, like, kind of brush it off of like, nothing's wrong. And I was like, no, actually, what? Like, you're obviously bummed about
I looked
something.
at my phone and my face sank.
Yeah, it was like he very clearly was upset about something. So I was like, well, what's going on? And he's like, I don't know if you want to know. And I was like, just tell me. Like, you're obviously upset. So,
Yeah, you don't want surprises.
yep.
So, yeah. So,
Man, this episode is turning out exactly how I foresaw it.
and
like the only theme I'm noticing is just that it's like it's almost as if like girls have a hard time making their minds up about things. I'm becoming the villain.
you're going to get a lot of
Wait.
trouble.
Are you trying to say that there's
just
like
before
different
anyone
mental?
strikes me, just prove me wrong.
I'm also trying to be more Christ-like, so I'm not going to respond.
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
There we
So,
I'm counting on the peaceful character of the glorious women in the room.
I am not, so fuck you, Spencer.
I'm not a glorious woman.
so anyways, so we find out the ring's not showing up until the end of February. And so she held a pretty strong face and was like, what's happening? She held up a pretty strong act and was like, no, it's fine. We'll find a ring on Amazon that we can
Yeah.
as a placeholder. We just
Which
won't
would
take
have
a lot
been
of
fine.
up-close
Like, it
pictures
would have
of it.
been fine.
And we'll make it work. And so she found a ring that was like $40 on Amazon. And 3 days later, I go in to put the order in for it. I order the ring, and it's, I guess, the day after I ordered the ring, the jeweler texts me and goes, hey, your ring's here. And so I canceled my Amazon order, and I went to text Savannah, and then I remembered I would like a couple of surprises. And I went, I'm not going to say shit. And then I was like, but what am I going to do for the proposal? I was like, she already knows the plan. I don't really want to change it because it's perfect the way I've laid it out. The moment I went to pick up that ring and I saw it and opened the box and she was like, isn't it beautiful? And everybody was like gathering around like, oh my God, it's so pretty. I went, I'm going to do it tonight. Fuck. I was like, oh man. I was like, there's no way I'm not going to do this in her living room. Mm-hmm. And she's either gonna hate it or love it, but I don't care because I have to do it. So I go back to drop her off before going to work because I have a graveyard shift. And we're sitting on the couch. I'm like, oh, I gotta leave in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, have it in my pocket, and
You
it's just
held it the whole time?
burning a hole in my pocket. I was like,
Don't say it like the whole time. It had only been 4 hours since he got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sacrifices.
And I'm thinking like, I'm terrible at speeches. I'm fucking awkward, as you'll see for the Valentine's Day episode. Like, I'm just a piece of shit. So
You didn't say any of those things.
No,
Calm down.
In my head, I am.
Okay.
So, and I get up and I give her a hug, and I'm like, I'm just really bad at speeches. Like, I'm worried about Saturday. Like, I feel like I'm gonna say the wrong thing or like flub it and like make a fool of myself. She's like, it's fine. I was like, I think I'll say something along the lines of like, and I started like, doing this really sweet, sentimental like, and she was like, no, don't do it until you're proposing to me. And I went, well. And then immediately her face changed into crying. And was like, are you doing this right now? And I was like, yeah, I think I am. And so I get down on one knee, pull the ring out, and I open it up. And she sees it and goes, is that the real ring? And I said, yeah, it is. And then she started crying more. And then I immediately went to go put the ring on her finger, and she pulled back and went, you have to ask the question.
I said, you haven't asked me anything.
And I was like, you're right. Will you marry me? And she was like, of course I will. Give me that ring.
And then he was like, cool, gotta go to work.
Yep, bye. I was like, have fun
So I
calling
was
your mom and
sitting-
your friends.
And everyone was asleep. It was like 11 o'clock at night. My parents were asleep. So I was just like, okay, this just makes sense. I mean, pretty much we were talking about getting married, 2 months in?
2 or 3.
2 or 3 months in, where it was just like, yeah, this just like makes sense, I will say the surprise is it kind of just depends who you are. I mean, some people love that. Like some girls, they're like, yeah, I want to have no idea. I want to be in the middle of a huge concert or something, you know, make it a big deal. But I think it's just knowing your partner and who they are. I mean, I'm a pretty like, I don't know, quiet person. I mean, not quiet, but that was the idea of doing it in front of people, that would be intimidating to me. Right. And not so much as like, oh my gosh, I feel so much pressure, but just like I wanted it to be an intimate moment between the two of us.
Yeah, I know I've definitely seen guys that used it in like a way where like the girl was, maybe they'd been together like a couple of years and they were kind of falling out, and you just knew the writing was on the wall and you could see, and the guy would go get a ring and then like spring it on the girl completely without any discussion and like try to trap her into saying yes in front of a bunch of people. I've seen that at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but
and I feel like that's kind of dangerous too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think part of that too is like how Hollywood has kind of played up like rom-coms of like, it has to be this life-changing moment and all that. Mm-hmm. And of course, every girl growing up kind of is in the back of their head. I mean, I think a lot of us probably wouldn't admit it, of like thinking about that one day of like, what is it going to look like and stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm like, I'm the same person that I was last week. Like we're in the same relationship that we were last week. We have the same goals that we did last week. And so I mean, obviously you want it to be special, but him getting down on one knee didn't change our lives. Like everything is the same. It's just we're making kind of an announcement,
right,
of what we've been thinking for months.
I think that's a smart, practical way to look at it. So I would encourage any of our listeners to kind of think about that. Think about the practical. And I'm not saying to take just all the surprise out of it, but it definitely. I agree with what you guys said. There needs to be. I think it should absolutely. If you want your chances to, because you guys have heard like Brad Paisley say like, if love was a plane, nobody would get on. You know, like there's a 6 in 10 chance we're going down. Like, but I think that's the reason that the odds are stacked against so many couples like that is probably because they don't take the time to talk to each other,
to know
and plan it out, and to be smart about it. You know, like they just kind of go, wow, and things. A lot of times, I think a lot of marriages probably should never have happened. But I think it's cool how you guys did it.
Now, I would like to ask you guys, because I'm interested in this. And me and her have already talked about this before. But telling other people that this was the plan, like filling people in and, you know, things like that. It was very interesting to see the people who, when I made my change in faith and rediscovery of faith, and people who kind of gave me a little pushback from that, were the same people who also gave me the pushback of being like, well, you guys only been together for 6 months. Like, you don't really know somebody until you've been together for 4 years and like
absurd.
live together and stuff.
Well, I think both of them, they've both fallen into the category of skeptics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think that's surprising. Cynics.
Cynics.
Yeah, I don't think that's surprising at all.
But I just found it interesting. I was like, the people who were very like accepting of my life change back in September and August were the ones who were just like, hell yeah, man. Like, you guys seem like you click so well. Like, congratulations. That's awesome. And then like other people would hear, and those were the people who were like, you know, oh, you know, why are you doing that? Or like, you know, saying weird things. We're also the ones that are like, I mean, unless you guys live together, you really shouldn't, and things like that. And I was like, well, first of all, you know, my mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, keep your mouth shut. But you know. But I was interested in what you guys thought. Like, I guess because you think they're cynical people, or
I think
everybody has opinions. That's the
unfortunate.
They may be. It may not. I don't want to just say because I don't know who they are, and so I don't want to just go. They're cynical and they're.
No, I'll say it. I don't know who you are. You're cynical. That doesn't make you a bad person, but that's a cynical outlook.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there could be somebody that just doesn't see it for what it is, and they're concerned about you.
Yeah,
that's a real thing too. I've had a lot of people that told me things I didn't want to hear. Or I didn't agree with about and it turns out down the road they were just worried about me. It wasn't that they were a piece of shit or they were negative and I, honestly, in my experience, hopefully not yours, and I'm certain this won't be your experience, but in my experience, a lot of them turned out to be right, and I should have paid more attention to them. And so I don't want to just say that everybody that doesn't just go, yeah, your shit doesn't stink, is a bad person. I think that's a dangerous thing to take, but also know that nobody else's opinion can affect you in any way. Like,
well, I can to speak to that without giving names. I do know just a couple of the people that were at least surprised, even if they weren't against it, like completely shocked by it, and they are shocked because they are not involved with either Casey or Savannah, but they know who they are, and their surprise came as no surprise to me. But I was like, you don't spend time with these people, so why? You don't see the mesh. You don't see them, yeah. So I mean, I get that you'd be surprised maybe, but like you haven't been here. So
Also, by the time you've gone down on one knee and got the ring, who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
that's another question.
I'm kind of like,
And it's for me, it's one of those things.
by the
like,
time
I even,
you propose to somebody, if I was proposing to somebody, I'm not caring what anybody says after
well,
that.
and I know that, but I just thought it was interesting that it fell under the same category of people who were skeptical about one thing were very skeptical about another
Well,
thing, and I was just like, oh,
And not to dive deep, but usually, from my understanding, all those people who are skeptical about the religious thing is because they were not religious. And
Yep.
so the people who are skeptical about us getting married, not that they aren't in relationships, but because they're not religious, they probably don't understand how
What that marriage
how we
means.
view marriage,
Yeah.
because it's different. Like Christian marriage is different.
from
Yeah.
legal marriage. That's a very good point.
The divorce rate in non-Christian relationships is skyrocketed, but in the church is a lot lower than that.
That's true.
And so I think a lot of the people who were very skeptical are probably looking from like a non-religious view.
yeah, probably.
Drop the hammer on the whole podcast.
Well-
Excellent. Yeah. I think if there's an example, because of all the stuff that we've been talking about, of like a good couple that communicates, that really made it and actually got married in like the span of 5 minutes, maybe 30 seconds, and it worked out. And we can talk about this when there's more time. If any of you have seen Wandavision on Disney Plus, excellent TV show.
Wow.
The segue game.
Nice segue.
Man, you were ready for that.
All right, WandaVision. Yeah, dude, that
And
show is
are
weird.
So-
pregnant? Question mark.
Has everybody
might
seen
actually-
it? Has everybody here seen it?
Frying pan hasn't, but
It
okay.
may.
Nothing's spoiled in the first 2 episodes.
That's true.
because
There's hints,
no
but
one
that's
knows
it.
what the heck is going on.
So
I know we're
you
sure-
were the first person, Hunter. I'm pointing at Hunter.
Okay.
You were the first person.
He's pointing at me.
to text and go. And I kind of
he's
knew it
pointing
was
at Hunter.
coming, but I was like, "Yeah, that's weird. I don't understand. It's black and white. It looks like an old TV show." But I'll get around to it.
Too close to home. Gotcha.
Neither one of those characters was even close to my favorite from the Avengers.
Oh, Sea Vision's my favorite by far.
Yeah, neither one of them did
Excellent
a lot
choice.
for me. I like the actors.
Paul Bettany. Yeah,
A
the
lot.
actors
Paul
made
Bettany.
me like the
Paul
characters,
Bettany.
not the
Does anybody
characters.
remember Paul Bettany from A Knight's Tale?
Yeah, Chaucer.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely. A Beautiful Mind.
Which, by the way,
Incredible.
his new movie on Amazon Prime, Uncle Frank, also.
Oh, it's so good.
Is it good?
it's so good.
Legion Priest. Yes.
Like I Love You, fiance of mine, but like Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany is
I know.
phenomenal.
oh.
I know
Hello.
your man crushes all have man buns, so I mean,
So like,
I get it.
That's true.
he's fantastic, and I like Elizabeth Olsen a lot too. Did you see Ingrid Goes West with her and Aubrey Plaza?
I saw Old Boy.
Crazy, it's crazy. But anyway, but the characters themselves, I could really care less about, except
Sure.
for there was that. If everybody knows in the end of the Avengers when she had to like blow up the stone in his head, and it was real dramatic.
They're painfully underwritten. They had excellent actors elevate
Right.
underwritten scenes in
So
Infinity War.
Nothing
Yeah.
about the show coming up has got me like I just didn't expect the gut punch that it was going to be. And you were Hunter were the first person to text and go, "You guys have got to watch it." And I was like, "Huh, that's strange." Like it just didn't. Seem,
I'm normally the guy
Yeah.
shitting on Marvel too.
I know, and also it just didn't look like it had the kind of like the intellectual traction that a show would need to have.
But I feel like
Agreed.
they didn't really hype it up a whole
didn't
lot. Like they
advertise
didn't
it well.
have commercials.
Kinda just slid
It
it
was
out.
just kind of like,
Yep.
okay, the new show's coming out.
100%.
Yeah. And they, I will say this, they were very clever about waiting for the Mandalorian to end and
Yeah.
then sliding it right in that
That
in
was
that
super smart.
same time
It's like
slot,
they're
same
owned by the
day.
same company or something.
But yeah, but like, so I watched it. I got off work and I was super tired and I was like, oh, I'm gonna fall asleep during this, and I started watching and I was just like, it absolutely blew me away. And I was like, what? Wait, hang on, what? This is just like superheroes, but they're in like a sitcom, but it's like a 50s sitcom.
But it's in real life.
But hang on, but it's
why?
black and white. But wait, some things aren't. Hang on a minute. It's funny, but it's actually funny.
No, if they just did the sitcom, it'd be an excellent show without all the other
I
meta
started
things.
to believe that's what it was. I was like, this is really just like, oh, honey, what are we going to have for dinner? Oh my God, here comes the boss. Ha ha ha, the neighbor's weird. And then the next episode had morphed a little bit. The intro was different. It had moved forward like 10 years from the 50s to
Can
the
I
60s.
speak to that?
Go for it, yeah.
It was all of a sudden had gone from Leave It to Beaver to Bewitched.
You got all
So-
the meta things on it.
Well, and that's the
down.
thing is the first episode is 50s and 60s, 1950, 1960s, and it's structured around Leave It to Beaver or the Dick Van Dyke Show.
right.
1-to-1 set recreation too.
Yeah.
Google it.
No, I saw that, and that's if anybody doesn't know what that is, look, because again, gigantic. Yeah.
Yeah. The second episode, 60s and 70s, and it's more based around Bewitched, I Love
Yeah.
Lucy. And so as they progress, it's going to get
Mary Tyler Moore.
Brady Bunch is probably coming.
Brady Bunch.
Probably.
Yeah.
See, but I knew first, and spoilers, obviously, but I knew first episode as soon as they could not remember their anniversary. They as soon as they were like, "Wait, why do we not know these things?" I was like, "Something's going on. Like
They're in
something is
somebody's
wrong.
mind.
Yeah, something is wrong."
So, go, Hunter, please go on.
Okay,
I said I don't think I'm smart enough to understand this, and you were like, "I'll help." But
Here's the thing.
please.
So I talked to Casey and Savannah at length about this last night on Conan Exiles. Excellent game. Just real quick, there are two theories that I have. The first, going in and after the first episode, was this takes place after Infinity War, before Endgame. It's her mind fracturing, which is very similar to the House of M thing that you guys pointed out to me that I missed from the comics. And I was like, so it makes sense. It's going to be sad, but it's also going to be funny. We're inside her psyche as it splits. And I was just done. I was like, it's going to be great. And then I watched it again with Libby. Like, I finished it and I went, hey, I know you want to sleep in. You got to wake up. Wake up. We're going to watch this. And so we watched it after she chastised me for watching it without her one time.
Fair.
But we watched it, and at the end, I saw them close the book, and I went, I didn't pay attention to that before, and rewound it and looked at the book, and I was like, that's Sword. Sword has to do with outer space. And then she goes, oh, yeah, and that joke about the flying saucers at the beginning. And I was like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Maybe they're not inside anyone's brain. Like, maybe this is after Endgame or Infinity War or something else, and they're in, like...
Some of the popular theories, and I also, here's the thing about it, I was delighted with it without even understanding all of how meta it was. I was delighted with it without knowing all the 60, 70 Easter eggs in every episode. I was delighted just watching them clown around in black and white, like the shows I watched when I was a kid, on Nick at Night or whatever. But then, like, the beekeeper comes up out of the ground,
Yeah.
and I was like, uh-oh. And it got really dark for a minute, and I was like, oh, fuck. Or when the guy was choking. And, so I was like, I'm going to have to do it. I went down the YouTube rabbit hole, started watching theory videos, fan videos, things like that. And apparently, the neighbor that comes over is probably the witch that trained Wanda to be the Scarlet Witch.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
In the comics, she's
I like that
supposedly
better
she's
than
got the
other
same
theories.
pendant.
Yeah.
If you go back to and I never read the comics. I didn't read, but apparently every writer for
I
Scarlet
know.
Witch
Yeah.
rewrote her origin.
Yeah.
Like at one point she was born, at one point she wasn't born, at one point she had kids, she just found kids. The father of the kids was Mephisto, who's kind of like the devil in the Marvel universe, but not. There's more.
Now it's Magneto.
It's
and now
crazy.
It's not. Yeah.
It's so crazy. But if you notice in WandaVision, they're always like, when are you guys going to have kids? When are you guys going to have kids? When are you guys going to have kids? Like there's such a push for them to have children that it has something to do with that. And then the
It's
neighbor.
a sequel to Midsummer.
Dude, it's a lot.
Well, and I will say, I always thought that the neighbor was probably going to be like her doctor. Like if her psyche is breaking, she's in like a hospital, or maybe she's like Captain Marvel put her on one of the ships that have like, out in
That's a
space
good
where
theory.
Thanos can't find her.
Yeah.
And
see
the
that.
neighbor is like the doctor, and then Kitty Foreman from That 70s Show. That's the only way I know her.
Yeah.
She's in it. She's in both episodes as well. Those two are the only two
And excellent.
side characters who show up in both episodes. I feel like she may be like a nurse or somebody that's watching after her, or maybe
Dude, what if
like
she's
you
Madam
said, is-
Web? Because of the the Doctor Strange stuff. We're getting in the weeds on this, but just the Spider-Man things. She might be Madam Web.
or she might be like Scarlett's mom from.
Oh, that'd be really sad.
Yeah, it's like that's her mom, or maybe the neighbor. Like you said, the neighbor's the witch that trained her. There's
The
just
only
so
reason,
much.
the only reason why I think there's definitely something going on inside of her head is because when she sees the beekeeper, she goes
Oh,
no, and then she reverts time.
That's a good point.
She rewinds.
So like she's in control of it somehow.
like
Can I
it's
speak
it's
to
an
that?
alternate reality possibly generated by her.
She has
Yeah.
her power is really vague in the comics too, just like in the movies. But one concrete aspect is that she can rewrite reality around
Yeah.
herself. So that doesn't mean it's in her head, but that's a
Well,
really good
and she
reason.
She has
still-
the individual powers of every one of the Infinity Stones at some degree. She exhibits the properties of every stone. So a lot of people have said the Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful characters in the MCU.
Definitely.
She killed the X-Men like
Yeah.
15 years ago. No more
Now,
mutants.
I will say,
Gone.
that even if she's in control, it doesn't mean that she's not in a dire situation. Like she's been captured by somebody who's.
Oh,
taken-
definitely.
I don't think
Right.
she knows
Like, I
she is.
think-
And even if she's in control, doesn't mean that she's doing it on purpose,
Right.
or like she's
Yeah.
not stuck in something.
I think
and
somebody,
they say it lines up. Like if you supposedly from when she was born, she would have grown up watching like those old shows, and so they think that this is kind of like Savannah said, if she's like in a coma or not, if she's just like creating this, she's hiding in this false reality. This would have been her childhood.
Yeah, but that
memories.
theory doesn't hold water because she was like roughly the same age she is now in 2015 when we met her in Avengers 2.
I have 2 theories.
So she's like,
Well, also in
Casey's
in
age-ish.
Sokovia, they only have old TV shows. Like in
that's a
European
good point.
towns, they all stick with old TV shows.
Right.
They don't
Me
get the new
TV.
stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
I have 2 theories. My first theory is that she goes through some kind of, after losing vision, she goes through some kind of breakdown. And so she's living a life that they could have had in her mind.
which is this idealistic TV show.
Exactly, of like you having a baby and all that. My other theory is that whoever the beekeeper character is going to be a villain that's in real time, and they are somehow letting her run through scenarios of how to defeat him.
ooh, I like that. That would explain the radio. I forget the radio. It's like, Wanda, who's doing
And
this to
so,
you? Blah, blah, blah.
yes. And so in her mind, they're allowing her to go back in time over and over again to try to figure out how are we going to beat this guy.
And like nobody has said, "Oh, the Beekeeper." That's from this comic.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows what that is.
I might know what it's from.
Do you
I
know
think
what
it's-
it's from?
Might.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk about
I
it.
think it's Taskmaster.
That would be dope. I don't think it is. We'll talk later. I don't
Well,
want to. It's such
so-
a throwaway.
Here's my theory.
That'd be
I
so
think
dope.
that Cap or somebody that knows Scarlet has found her in a state of comatose
Ooh, I like that too.
and has given her off, like maybe Nick Fury or someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. has given her off to somebody who can be more equipped to take care of her while she's in a coma. And she's living through these things. And that's why she's in control of that reality. However, things break through because someone's like, who did this? Like, who put you in this coma? Not knowing that she put herself in it because she can't cope.
Handle, yeah.
And so that's why whoever's talking to her going, who did this to you, is like whoever's trying to help her. And they're trying to make it seem like it's an ominous person. But I think by the end, you'll realize that there's probably not a villain except her. She's her own villain.
Well, the rumor is she's going to be the villain in Doctor Strange too,
fun.
through tragic circumstance. And
There's no chance that they're
That'd be
not
dope.
setting up their next 6
Something.
moves with this
Yeah.
show. But man, I tell you, it's supposed to, and I think it's no secret, it's supposed to go through like the different generations of sitcoms. I can't wait to see like
That
Saved
70s
by the
show.
Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
that 70s show. Yeah,
That'd be
like
fun.
like Brady Bunch. Like because they at the end
All
of
in the
season,
Family.
Yeah, dude, it went into color. But like Technicolor, like bad color. I'm excited to see where it goes, man. But I was very pleasantly surprised, and it's one of the best shows I've seen. And just in terms of, here's what I think. So, if you look at like Cloverfield or
Yeah.
Lost, a lot of the J.J. Abrams stuff that had this big mystery that went with it, and a lot of little clues to discover and talk about, and blah blah blah. They were very menacing. But this is one of the only things I've ever seen that's actually like funny and lighthearted, and you don't have to dig. You could just watch it.
it's
and go,
got menace to it though.
Yeah.
But it's in the background.
so there's a lot of
Yeah.
different things, but it's kind of a lighthearted mystery that unlike it's got a vibe that a lot of shows don't have. I was very, very pleasantly surprised by it.
That actually reminds me of one thing just on the artistic merits that I'd like to touch on. Thinking about it coming into today, it occurred to me that era, specifically the first 2 episodes, is kind of looked at with like rose-colored glasses a lot, and it had a lot of problems. A thing that maybe it's just me because I do romanticize that era in my own head, the 50s and 60s, but I thought something that they were doing very smartly with dialogue and characters is within context, critiquing the problems of the era without critiquing the people, which is a trap I think a lot of things fall into where they want to talk about the issues of a decade, which is worth exploring in hindsight. But what they do is just beat the hell out of the people and instead of going, well, what were the circumstances? What caused people to be this way? And it doesn't matter for the show, but I picked up on
Like,
it.
can
and I
you
was
give
like,
an example of that?
the jokes in the first episode about the anniversary and like the magazine that they were going through for like how to be a proper housewife
Yeah.
and stuff. None of that
Like,
had
what were a
any.
wife's
It wasn't damning
responsibilities?
towards men. It wasn't damning towards the women that fell into that trap either. But it was pretty damning without like holding a lighter under your butt in the context of the scene where they're just joking.
Where
Straight
it's like, this
face.
was an issue, but we're not going to blame anyone for it.
Yeah. So I thought that was really clever.
Yeah. Well, guys,
They got married.
that's pretty much our time. congratulations again on your engagement.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more from Beacon House. In fact, I can't wait to see what happens on this show as it goes on.
Yeah.
I don't mind talking about it
Well,
week after week.
After this show ends, Falcon and Winter Soldier are right behind it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I want to talk soon coming up too.
Marvel's
we didn't
coming
get
back
around
up.
to it today, but you just saw Hillbilly Elegy.
Oh yeah,
And
that'll
I watched,
give me a chance to watch.
I watched
it.
Remember Me. So we've got some movies to.
Well, and I just want to say one thing about Hillbilly Elegy because
Yeah.
I read a lot of reviews. Me and you talked about this, and I think you're absolutely right. A lot of reviews kind of dog the movie for being sad without really a happy ending, so to speak. Like without really like a lot of closure. And I really think those people just don't know what it's like growing up in the South.
with an addict in the family.
Right.
Like it's just, I feel like it's just different because you give those people in your family a lot more leeway because it's like a Southern thing.
A lot of people in that show reminded me of people that I knew as I was growing up.
Yeah.
The neighbors we had and just like their relatives or their families that would come over at Christmas. Like they were just like those people.
Yeah.
Like it's a definite Southern thing. I think people maybe that just didn't grow up around here or near the
Don't
Appalachian
understand
Mountains
it.
just go, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're from around here, I could tell you almost name the people in my life that were just like some of those people, and where they lived and where they were in the neighborhood. And,
Well, I mean, even like the story really takes place mainly in like Ohio and Kentucky, those kind of areas. But from that, like, I mean, even like, I don't know, just a lot of these reviews were just like, oh, it's not good. Like, it's well acted, but like, it's just sad to be sad. And I'm like, I just don't think you get, I don't think it clicks with you.
It's true.
But-
Well, guys, thanks for joining us today, and we will be back very soon with another episode of Beacon House.
Yeah.
Until then, please try to survive the inauguration, and
No more mutants.
Oh my.